When we started trip planning for 2026, we realized something uncomfortable. We were about to travel in a way that didn't feel like us anymore. We realized that the more we were chasing a number, the more it would feel like we were just passing through the places we were planning to go. So instead of trying to see how much we could fit into a year, we scrapped the plan and started from scratch.
In this video, we're going to walk you through how we shaped our year, where we slowed down, where we went big, and the things we deliberately chose not to do, so we can make our travel feel meaningful.
I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
Several months ago, we put out a video on the 5 places that changed us. And we asked you for your feedback about some of the places that were special to you. Now, we loved getting feedback about how much our video inspired you to want to go to places that maybe you hadn't thought of. But I don't know if you realize that that actually inspired us to go to some of the places that you recommended. And it was a little bit overwhelming and a little bit exciting. So I started travel planning as soon as that video came out. And I was trying to see how I could incorporate all of those cool places into our travel plans.
We did all the normal things. We started sketching out the big ticket places, started lining out the places where we could stay in those countries. We looked at the travel planning as far as flights and how to get from place to place, geographic arbitrage, how we could kind of be smart about all this. We're not always smart about all this. It felt like, there was a lot to consume just for 1 year, but we had a lot of plans.
Yeah, we were super excited. In fact, we even put out a video on how hard travel planning can be when you can't do everything you want. So we shared our plans with our Gelato members in September, and they looked at it and many of them said, and rightly so, this looks like a really ambitious year. And we knew that for ourselves, but still we wanted to go to all of these cool places. But
it's kind of like that. You see it, but you don't really see it till someone else says it. And you're like, yeah, we kind of knew that. A little embarrassing. Yeah. I thought you guys were slow travelers. Like, yeah, we're sorry.
And we really did learn this the hard way, that every time you move to a different place, you are losing time. You're either transiting, you're waiting in an airport or a train station. And it turns out that once you check into your next accommodations, you spent a lot of your time getting to a destination where if you just stayed put, you could have had deeper experiences. At least that's how it's been for us.
Yeah, instead of saying, where could we go and how many places can we see, we changed it around and said, how can we experience travel better and more comfortably and get the most out of it?
Yeah, and I don't even think that if you pack and travel light, that solves your problems. Mm-hmm. And then we took those questions and basically reshaped everything you're about to see. We broke 2026 down into segments, and we'll go through them one by one.
We started 2026 coming out of New Zealand and then into Southeast Asia. We loved the idea of New Zealand because the weather was warmer and it was a place we've never been. We were really excited to explore the more nature side of travel.
But we knew that we wanted to be in Southeast Asia for the winter months. And that meant that we couldn't overstay in New Zealand. We traveled kind of quickly through it, and we knew we'd have some regrets, but we just didn't know what to expect, and we didn't want to blow all of our budget in the first month of the year.
Yeah, New Zealand's lovely, but a bit expensive.
And we also felt like this was definitely a place in the world that we will come back to. So we didn't feel like we had to see it all at once. And we know you've been waiting for our Auckland video to come out, and we promise you that will be out next week. So stay tuned and watch. Subscribe if you're not already. There were 3 constraints we needed to be thinking about for this Southeast Asia leg. Number 1 was burning season. Also, we didn't want to stay too long where it got too hot. And we knew we needed to go back to the US for our annual trip. So we couldn't extend it too long.
So we're currently in Southeast Asia. Our first stop was Luang Prabang in Laos. Now, why choose Laos? Well, it's a place we've never been in Southeast Asia, and we were really curious about it.
We also knew it would have a slower pace than our time in New Zealand, and that seemed like a really good way to start off our time in Southeast Asia. We're only here for 16 days, and Southeast Asia and especially Laos would have been a great place to stay longer. But again, based on some of the constraints we had, we felt like this would be a meaningful time, especially if we weren't doing day trips anyplace.
From here, we're taking the Shampoo cruise, which takes us down the Mekong River to the border of Thailand. From there, we catch a flight to get to Bangkok, which surprisingly, we've never been.
In 2024, we spent 5 weeks in Chiang Mai, but we didn't make it to Bangkok because it was going to blow the budget and it just didn't seem practical to do. So we decided to give it 2 weeks and we're going to see for ourselves whether it's a love it or hate it destination. We know that it's pretty polarizing and we want to see for ourselves.
We'll have opinions.
We're leaving Bangkok before burning season gets underway, and we're heading to Singapore just in time for Lunar New Year. Originally, we were planning to spend only 3 days there, but we decided to give it a little bit more time. We're spending 9 days there now instead.
Next, we head to Malaysia. A lot of people go to Kuala Lumpur, but we chose Georgetown instead.
Georgetown is one of those cities we wanted to visit the first time we were in Asia, but we just couldn't make it work. I'm especially excited to learn more about the history there and especially all of the diverse multicultural aspects of it. We know it's going to be really hot here at this time of year, so we're only planning to spend 16 days.
Every year we do our trip planning. There's an essential part of it, and that's our trip back to the U.S. to see family. Now this time we're going there for 19 days, and we're splitting that up into 4 different cities, 2 in Texas and 2 in California, which means air travel and renting cars and all those expensive things that you just don't want to do when you're traveling fast.
Kevin's family is Irish, and in true Irish fashion, Kevin's family celebrates St. Patrick's Day as though it is the biggest holiday of the year. So we knew we didn't want to miss it. And then we built the rest of our US time around that.
We learned the hard way this past year that it's so important to spend quality time with family whenever we can. It's not worth ever putting off. So we make sure we have everything booked for this way in advance.
As full-time travelers, we are used to planning a lot of trips, more than 30 trips this year alone. And we've been doing this for over 3 years. So we've gotten pretty good at managing all of the details, but there are a lot of them.
One trip alone can have a dozen reservations, flights, lodging, tours, visas, and it adds up really fast. For a long time, we managed everything with spreadsheets, and those spreadsheets are still free on our website because they really do work.
But we knew it would be really ideal if we could have everything in one place. All the travel plans, all the documents, our budget, as well as all of our day-to-day spending. What we ended up with after a year of hard work is an app we're calling Voyage.
It's the personal finance app for people who love to travel. We've been using it for months now to manage our trips, track our spending, deal with multiple currencies, and store every confirmation and receipt, along with all the visas and documents that go with every trip. Voyage Vault even helps us keep an eye on the tricky things like Schengen's 90-day rule.
Because we're getting really close to launching, we'd love to invite you to the early adopters list. You can scan the QR code or use the link in the description.
And after you look at our website for Voyage Vault, we'd love to hear what you think. Let us know in the comments. Voyage Vault has become a core part of how we plan our year, and we're excited to finally share it with you.
So our next segment is Europe. And even though we had it all planned out and we thought everything was all fine-tuned for this part of the year, as recently as 2 days ago, I ended up changing things around a bit. Because of the flow of our travel, it would seem logical that we would start at the northernmost area and work our way south. Unfortunately, we're mindful of things like weather. We really don't like to be cold, so ideally nothing lower than 50, and we also don't like to be too hot, so we try to keep things less than 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Budapest, Hungary is a place we've had on and off our schedule for a couple years now. It's a soft landing, and we're going to spend 2 weeks there. No side trips. We're going to give ourselves time to settle in before moving on again.
I think it's going to be a good spot, especially after how busy we're going to be in the US. Our next stop is Zagreb, Croatia, and we're stopping there kind of as a mea culpa to Dubrovnik, which we didn't really get to enjoy when we were there in October because I was really sick. And so we want to go back. We're only going to spend 3 days. And part of the reason that we're even going there is we have a friend who lives there and we want to meet up with them. And also it made sense because one of the other places that we'll be talking about in a bit was a little bit more expensive than we intended it to be. So we decided to split our time, and I think it will work out well.
One of our favorite countries is Italy, which you probably know if you've seen our videos.
There's a lot of them.
One of the places we haven't been in Italy yet is Trieste. We're going to actually spend 25 days there, and it's one of the places we're most excited about.
One of our viewers said, why don't you spend any time on the Adriatic side of Italy? And we didn't really have a great reason. So we're excited to go there. It's going to be convenient to get from Zagreb to Trieste and also to our following destination. Just a short commute from Trieste is Slovenia, and we're going to be spending 14 days in the capital city of Ljubljana. Now, we listened to many of you because originally our plan was to be there in 2025 in October, and you said, don't do it. You'll be disappointed because it's too beautiful, and at that time of year, the days are going to be too short. We took your advice. We're going to visit in the spring. However, it was more expensive than we thought it was going to be for accommodations. So we snipped 3 days off of it. We gave it to Zagreb, and yet we're still going to be spending 4 days in Lake Bled. Now, we know a lot of people just do that as a day trip, but we wanted to slow down a little bit and just enjoy ourselves and experience it without rushing.
We were able to extend our time in Europe by going to Ohrid, Macedonia for 11 days. It's outside of Schengen, so we don't have to play with the 90-day rule.
We spent some meaningful time in 2025 exploring Southeast Europe, and we wanted to continue that by going to Macedonia, a place we've never been.
It looks like we're messing up our geographic arbitrage with this next one, but Riga, Latvia was a place that could be terribly cold at different times of the year, and we were trying to push it as far down as we could in the schedule to stay a little bit warmer.
And it's one of those places that people say is absolutely magical. So we're giving ourselves 16 days here. Our final leg of our European segment is Tallinn, Estonia. And that's one of the places that I've been wanting to go since 2015. I had the privilege while working for a cybersecurity firm to meet up with the president of Estonia.
Are you saying we're getting some perks because you know the president?
No.
Okay.
We would have liked to have stayed longer, but I think we're going to be happy to spend 7 days here. One of the things we want to continue doing in 2026 is meetups. So of all of the places that we're going, if there's any chance that you will be in one of them, we would love to hear about it, and we'll try to meet up with you if we can. If you're interested in meeting up with people, even if it's not with us, we encourage you to join our La Familia forum. It's free, and you can share your itinerary, and other people will be sharing theirs, and there's a great chance that you'll be able to connect and meet in person.
This segment of our travel is something that Judy has been trying to get on the schedule for a long time. So going to Africa is a big thing. We're going to spend almost 90 days there.
Our first stop is going to be Cape Town, South Africa, and we'll be spending 32 days there.
We're going to split 13 days between Zambia and Zimbabwe. And the main purpose for going there is Victoria Falls.
We really enjoyed seeing Iguazu Falls when we were in Argentina and Brazil. And in the same way that some people do the falls as a day trip and see both sides, we're giving ourselves plenty of time to explore the entire area.
And while we're there, we're planning a day trip safari in Botswana.
One of our anchors for the entire year is a 5-day safari in Kenya. We chose Mara Naboisho very deliberately. It's not because it's got luxury camps, but it's conservation-led, it limits vehicle numbers, it supports the local communities, and it prioritizes long-term land protection. And those are all things that are very important to us.
If you're only going to do one safari experience like this, which is not cheap, we wanted to reflect our values. This is the experience we shape the year around.
Our next stop is Kigali, Rwanda. We'll be slowing down and spending 21 days there. While Rwanda is well known for its gorilla trekking, we feel like we will have the wildlife experience that we came for when we're in the Naboisho Conservancy. During this time, we wanted to focus on Rwanda's people, its history and reconciliation. Its modern story, we think, deserves time and attention, not a rushed visit.
For the last leg of our Africa segment, we're going to Stone Town, Tanzania, which is in the state of Zanzibar. We're going to spend 10 days there. The main reason we're going there is because people commented it's one of the 5 places that changed them.
Our next segment is Western Asia. We'll be kicking off our time by spending 19 days in Jordan. We'll be starting with Amman for 10 days. And although Petra is considered one of the new 7 wonders of the world, many people just make it a day trip from Amman. We're going to give it its own space and spend 4 days there, exploring as much as we can, even though it's going to be fairly hot there. After Petra, we'll be in Amman for another 5 days. We'll be doing an overnight in Wadi Rum, as well as a day trip to the Dead Sea.
Next, we visit a new country for us, Turkey, and we're going to Selçuk for 7 days.
Selçuk is a great place for us to explore Ephesus. So we were pretty disappointed to have to cut Cappadocia out of our Turkey plan. However, we felt like it was really important for us to take a detour with some of this time and go back to Houston.
This isn't our normal trip back to the U.S. We're only going to Houston, but we feel like there are family members that really need us there, and we need to make the effort to visit them, even though it might be long distance travel again twice a year.
And fortunately, it'll be a pretty straightforward route back to Turkey so that we can spend 24 days in Istanbul. Now, we had originally intended to be in Istanbul when we first started traveling, so early 2023. But there was an earthquake and we felt like it probably wasn't the best idea for us to be there when all of that was going on. So we're looking forward to finally getting there.
Another place that people recommended is Muscat, Oman, and we're going to spend 10 days there. We're looking forward to exploring its maritime history, stunning landscapes, and a country navigating modern life without losing its cultural footing.
Our second to last country that we'll be visiting in 2026 is Sri Lanka, and we'll be splitting up our time between Sigiriya and Gale. We intentionally skipped Udavalava and Yala, but that's because we really didn't need to see more wildlife in 2026. What we'd rather do is slow things down again because we have something bigger coming up afterwards. Sigiriya will be 18 days, and then Gale will be 7 days. Originally, we were going to just cut Gale completely and give all of the time to one city, but we decided that because it was so close to Christmas, we really wanted a place that would have Christmas decorations and some sort of festivities, and we feel like that we're going to get that in Gale.
And to finish off 2026, we're going to India, where we've never been yet. We're going to Kochi for 11 days. This is the first of 3 cities that will be spending time in India.
One of the reasons that we squeezed India into 2026 is because we wanted to spend the new year here. Kochi is supposed to have a great celebration, and we want to be part of it.
As we look at our 2026 planning, we understand it's still ambitious. But trust me, it was crazier before. We learned that throughout this process, we were putting a lot into it, but we weren't putting meaningful time into it that is really important for some of these places.
We're experimenting. We don't really know if this is still going to be too fast for us, but we know it's a lot slower than what the plan originally looked like. And we're also going to be taking a pulse. If something doesn't feel right, we're willing to pivot if we need to.
Yeah, we're not changing the safari because that was a big rock item, and we're not changing our destinations for the U.S., but everything else has a little bit of flexibility.
But I would really like it to work out because I'm excited about going to all of these places. We're also curious about the places that you're looking at for 2026. Are there any that we're going to that you're really excited about? Ones that you really have no interest in? We would love to hear about that.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. If you haven't seen our video about our Australia travel, you can watch our Melbourne video right here.
Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, we'd love for you to do that.
And remember to
wander more,
worry less,
and bring a passport.
Until next time.
Until next time.